You're listening to the We Are Libertarians podcast network. Find all of our shows at wearelibertarians.com. You're listening to the We Are Libertarians network. Learn more at wearelibertarians.com.
The Johnny Rocket Launchpad is Liberty. Each week we strive to bring you the best guests in talk radio. The Johnny Rocket Launchpad delivers weekly interviews of noteworthy politicians, experts, and activists. The Johnny Rocket Launchpad is bringing the party to the Libertarian Party and launching ideas in your direction. Check us out at johnnyrocketlaunchpad.com. You can hear me, Kurt Nelson, and the beautiful Heather Nixon talk about the ideas of liberty. Rock and roll.
Hey there, Liberty lovers. This is Mark Claire of the Lions of Liberty podcast, where we strive to bring you great conversations about the ideas of liberty 3 days a week, every Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Check us out at lionsofliberty.com.
Hey guys, this is Roger Paxton, and if you're fed up with the government running every single aspect of your life, but you're not listening to the Lava Flow podcast yet, then what's wrong with you? Check us out at thelavaflow.com, or just go back to sucking up to the government. The Lava Flow podcast, striking the root every single episode.
We are supported by listeners like you. Donate per month or make a one-time donation through PayPal or Patreon at wearelibertarians.com. Welcome to We Are Libertarians. I'm your host, Chris Spangle. We Are Libertarians brings you all of the irreverence modern politics deserves. We explain to you what the hell is happening in our world today and how we can fix it by thinking differently. This is a podcast brought to you by the We Are Libertarians Network, so please be sure to rate and review us on iTunes, like us on Facebook, share this episode with friends, and support us through PayPal or Patreon at wearelibertarians.com. We are supported by listeners like you, so $1 per episode by pledging $5 a month helps us grow. We're always taking your questions and comments via email at editor@wearelibertarians.com. And I want to take a moment to thank our sponsor for this episode, which is 812 Farms, located in Columbus, Indiana. You guys have given them such a tremendous response, and we thank you guys so much. They supply home brewers and commercial breweries with locally grown hops. In the process of getting a destination brewery started in Bartholomew County, using all Indiana-grown ingredients, they're going to build a brew pub that honors the farmers of Indiana. And they planned a wedding barn, an event center, a restaurant, a brewery, indoor hydroponics, vegetable garden, and overnight lodging. So they are planning big, and they want to grow with the We Are Libertarians audience, and that is why they advertise with us. So please, if you're a home brewer or if you love to drink beer, go get the Permafrost and India Pale Lager. The tap on Mass Ave.
You had one too many.
I'm having way too much trouble talking today, Greg.
Well, I love 812 Farms. They're like the best sponsor ever. They're so positive. They like every status. Like, I feel like we should sponsor them.
I know. Well, we do.
We're so lucky.
We officially endorse the hops grown out in Bartholomew County. That is the voice of Greg Lenz, my co-host. Greg, how are you?
I'm doing wonderful. I'm really excited about this episode. This is going to be great fun.
Yeah, we have a special treat. When we have no elections, it's tough to do a lot of news. We wanted to get together and do an episode for you guys this week, but there wasn't really anything catching our eye this week, right?
Well, that's why we flew in a North Korean foreign policy expert, all the way
right.
from Pyongyang.
Mr. Shaun Latham. Shaun, how are you doing?
Guys, I'm doing great. Thanks for having me on your show. It's good to be in from North Korea. Shit's kind of hot right now over there.
Now, Shaun,
bumping.
Shaun, you guys may not know this, but Shaun is not only a policy advisor to Kim Jong-un. He is a local comedian. You're a national comedian. You grew up in L.A., right?
Let's float global. Let's go global.
Right.
Man, you were from L.A. and moved to Indy?
Yep.
Wow.
Yeah, a year and a half ago.
How do you like it?
I love it.
Do you?
It's great here, dude.
Awesome.
I mean, I hate weather. But
That's the one thing.
But we squeaked it out. We're past it now.
Yeah.
We'll have a couple of days in the 60s.
So you're the reason Bowers left.
No, I'm definitely not the reason Bowers left.
You came and he left.
He's like, all right, see you later. Thanks for coming.
Yeah. Oh,
hey,
you really picked Indy, huh?
Yeah. He invited me out here to move here. That's why I moved here.
Yeah.
Because as a comedian, honestly, it's a great place to live and work, isn't it?
Well, if you don't understand like the purpose, if you're trying to be famous right now, then don't come here.
Right.
But I didn't come here to be famous. I already had some TV credits on Comedy Central, so I just wanted to have the best act I can possibly have. I need
Actor,
to be
comedian, foreign policy expert.
And the foreign policy, that's going to go with me everywhere. But the stand-up, I needed to go somewhere I can headline a shitload of clubs.
Sure.
build your brand.
Yeah.
And just indulge in the art and just try to become the funniest Shaun I can be, really.
And I've seen you once, and it was hysterical. You roasted the shit out of a bachelorette party, and I was dying. It was so good.
But it was in a fun way because I didn't
it
have
was
no
great.
feelings.
They laughed and loved it. Like they were totally eating it up, and they had the look.
Yeah,
they were eating it up.
Too many and I don't. Everybody has their style, everybody has their thing, but I don't ever, unless they have no choice because someone's being a straight piece of shit.
Yeah.
Then I'll never just go in on somebody and beat them up for the sake of the show. Like, because that's the worst stereotype. No one wants to sit in the front row. I don't want to get picked on.
Yeah.
Right.
My feelings.
I just want to do positive shit. So if only thing I'm going to say to somebody, and that's why I also make fun of myself right away. I got one good lazy eye joke up front, and I got a couple of callbacks within the hour set, but it's one lazy eye joke up front, so they know where I'm coming from. Don't take this shit so serious.
Let's
self-deprecating.
Let's set the scene a little bit. You have a tremendous lazy eye.
Yes, sir.
It is one of the laziest I've ever seen.
Yeah, they're real hot right now. A lot of people are into them, so it's pretty cool. Getting
That's
a lot of
a really good
opportunities.
point.
And if you've ever looked up Morty's Comedy Joint, which is where we do our live show, they have a mascot that is a dog with a lazy eye.
2 lazy eyes.
Yeah. And it's one of the funniest things ever when you pretend to notice it and then you scream out, "Look at this fucking dog! He stole my act!"
And you caught there's no comma in Indianapolis, Indiana on the Morty sign. That was bothering me so much, and that was why I immediately liked you. You nailed it. And I wasn't sure if that was improv or not.
It was originally,
yeah,
but now I just throw it out there sometimes.
It's hilarious.
But I just make it. Originally it was some made up shit that I said just random, but then I just kept it.
Oh, so good.
Yeah, really. Sean's a very funny comedian.
Very funny.
Thank you guys.
What kind of comedy would you say you do?
I don't know. It's kind of there's a lot of observatory in some manner. A lot of I got some stories in there. I'm just mixing it in.
Observational comedy.
Observational, yeah. Just,
your energy level's huge too. I mean, you are. Like,
that's the most important part.
Yeah, it's great. It's so different to see you in person like this, not up on stage.
Yeah, no, the energy and the connection is the most. Everybody thinks that it's the jokes. The jokes are literally secondary.
Sure.
Like, I don't give a shit. I'll write a joke about this, the chair or something, as long as I'm doing it my way. Then it'll you have to have, it has to be funny. But I'm saying,
it has to meet a certain
everything
condition.
else. Yeah, there's so much more before the joke even hits the table.
Yeah,
but you don't learn that for years.
There was a comedian, and I forget who it was. I think it was Jerry Seinfeld, who said that comedy is basically just noise, and that if you say the same phrase, if you have Chris Rock say it, and you have Louis C.K. say it, and then you have Jerry Seinfeld say it, it'll be said in the same way, and it will be funny to different audiences based on the noises coming out of their head. Mm-hmm. I mean, and it's very true, and like you exemplify that more than anybody, I think, in just the way that you present things, because it's not that your jokes aren't funny, it's that you can talk about anything on stage. You're very what's called crowd work. You can go around and talk to the crowd and make that funny because of the presentation. I mean, so how did you develop that style? I mean, how to relate this to our audience? One of the reasons that we want to talk to Shaun, first and foremost, he was bringing his co-host. You have a podcast, right?
Mm-hmm. We're just starting it. We've just been working on it. Recorded some episodes. We just sat down with you last week.
Yeah,
to set it all up.
And what's the name of the podcast?
It's, Lights Out.
Lights Out.
Yeah, Chris with Chris Lights Out Lytle, the MMA legend.
Yeah, so if you know Chris Lytle, he was supposed to be here, but he had a thing in his schedule. And Lytle's a libertarian who ran as a Republican for a state Senate seat in 2012, and I was wooing him hard to come and run as a libertarian, but he didn't fall for it. So we'll love to have you guys back on, because I want to talk to Chris about his experience in politics. So we wanted to not only promote your podcast, but also have you kind of talk about the process of libertarians are not good at talking to people. Okay, you're very good at talking to people. You're very good. You're very confident. Okay, I remember the first time that I ever heard your name was that you were going to work on this comedy team called the Motor Pugs, now defunct. Chris Bowers, who now works at the not the Comedy Store, the help me,
Laugh Factory,
the Laugh Factory in L.A., booking all the
that
comics.
little place out in L.A. on Sunset Boulevard.
Yeah, one of the most legendary clubs ever. Our good friends Chris Bowers, who you heard on episode 200, has moved out to L.A. to become a legend in comedy with this great gig. And so he was putting together this troupe about a year and a half ago, and he was telling me about it. And he said, I've got this guy, Shaun. Shaun is the most confident person I've ever met in my entire life. Shaun can go into any situation and just handle it, and he has no fear. He can talk to anybody about anything. He can present almost anything. You're getting very full of yourself.
I didn't know I could do all that.
Yeah. Well, Chris Bowers, who is also one of the most confident people we've ever met, called you one of the most confident people he's ever met. So
That's like being knighted.
Yeah. So one of the problems that libertarians have is that they're very insecure, that they're not confident.
We spend all our time thinking about what the other person is thinking about us while we're talking to them.
Exactly. And so, I'm just kind of springing this on you, but it's one of the things that I think that people don't have a good, they're not good at communicating. And so
strategic,
right? So, how did you develop this confidence? Like when you're putting together, because I often tell people, don't go out. Yes, be authentic and genuine, but you also have to kind of rehearse what you're going to say when you go out and give a presentation. And so, how did you kind of define your character as a comedian? So, when you're getting out to go and talk to a group of people, how do you get into that mode? How do you craft that character? And what were some of the ways that you do that?
First. I did a public speaking class in college at Arizona Western College in Yuma, Arizona.
Oh, wow. I used to live in Scottsdale. You were out there.
I grew up for 10 years in Arizona.
Oh, wow.
15 to 25. And that class was so terrifying. And I was just saying, it really breaks down to reps. It's just the reps thing. You just keep doing it. So I started that class. I'm going to have to do a speech. I was like, I got to talk in front of these I don't know these people. What am I going to talk about? I did a presentation of the movie Half Baked. Like it was ridiculous. Yeah. And then then I just got into it. I got a job at a comedy club, and then you just start doing it, right? And then every show though, you're like, I could do it here because you feel safe. Like this place I can do this room. And then I go to this other room, like I can't do this place. This is a bar. I can't do this. Right. But then you got other friends who've been a little ahead of you, 6 months in and then they're like, dude, you come in, you're doing it, and you get thrown in.
Right.
And then just over years, just the reps. And I moved around a lot as a kid. So when you move around in the middle of school years, you have to really you just become good at making, hopefully people like you right away.
Very agreeable.
Because everybody's like, who's this new piece of shit? Like this outsider guy. There was a movie as a kid. It was this kid who was from California. He was all surfer guy, and he moved to Cincinnati.
Right.
You know what I'm talking about?
Oh,
it's not Gleaming the Cube. It's somebody was a skateboarder.
It's an 80s movie, right? Yeah, like early 80s. Oh man, I forget what it is.
I was related to that dude because I moved from California to Gaffney, South Carolina, which is awesome because that's where Frank Underwood's from.
Typewriter. Yeah.
By the
so
way,
you're an Army brat?
No.
Just Yuma.
A lot of just mom got married a couple of times, and we just moved with them. My mom was from Ohio, so we lived there for a little while. But then when you just become, you just learn to all right, well, at the same time, everybody cares what everybody else thinks about them.
Of course.
When you find out someone doesn't like you, you're just like, fuck, why don't like me? What did I do?
Right.
What did I do? It bugs the shit out of you. But then after a while, you just learn that there's just a percentage. It's like comments on YouTube. It's uncontrollable. Someone is going to tell you that you're a piece of shit that looks like a pug or whatever.
Right.
And
I think he just called me a piece of shit.
I think it was very, very meta, very low under
strategic.
Well, I do not look like a fucking pug.
I apologize. I was trying to be humorous. I'm not funny.
I liked it. But actually, that's one of the top comments on one of my YouTube clips.
Right.
Oh god.
Some piece of shit put, this guy is cute. He looks like a pug or something. He's like, I don't look like a pug.
I bang everything that walks. I'll have you know.
I hump every woman's leg I see.
Yeah. But and that's it, man. You just keep, and then after, it just starts bleeding over. So once you've done it for a certain amount of time, it just bleeds into the street. This is who you are. And so if you could talk in front of, I've done shows with Gabriel Iglesias where I did 10 minutes at 12,000 people in the crowd. So when I did that, luckily I got to do that. So and then you just become man, little rooms are just, you just can go in there with, and just control them. It's like a headlock, just carry them around, do whatever you want. And after doing it for long enough, you get tired of, it just comes you in the street, you stop being two people, the comedian and the guy in the street. You just became you just become this one person that doesn't matter. You're just who, you just can talk and roll with it. And, whatever the situation is, it's the same thing. It doesn't matter. There's no
separation between the character and you.
It's one thing.
Because your character, to me, when I watch you, and it's only been once, is so intense, and you're such a laid-back guy. And so is that something that took a while for you to develop, or did you just, when you hit the lights are on, you're on?
Yeah, it's go time.
So it's
fucking go time.
It's
Like,
performance.
What are you here for? You know?
Yeah.
Well, I
That's
see
something
people-
we struggle with is it ends up being meek and like, well, do you like it? And then you just totally lost. Like,
You know why? Because you care what they think.
yeah. And you're thinking about it.
I don't give a shit what anybody thinks in the crowd. Like, and I mean that very politely and very humbly. I don't know if humbly is a word. In a very humble manner. Because
It's a word
You
now.
said it confidently, so I believed it.
Exactly.
just confidently say it. But at the end of the day, they're guinea pigs. Like I'm here to. I'm gonna give them my best product I can give them because they did pay for a product. This is what you're gonna have. Now, if there's some things you don't like in here, it does not bother me if you don't laugh because I already know I'm hilarious. That's one good thing about getting on TV. Isn't about the good thing about credits is that it kind of gives you this self like, listen, I'm funny enough to be on television, so it's either I'm having an off night or I'm just not their type of. I'm not their flavor.
Yeah.
They have bad personalities.
You have proof of performance.
Yes.
You have proven that you can perform, that you know what you're doing, and that's the thing about getting reps in, is that, yeah, you may have sucked this time or this person didn't like you, but you have so many other experiences that show you, that prove that you can perform.
And you also have to it takes so long to get there, at least for most people, but to know that it just doesn't. If I'm the funniest dude they've ever seen in their life or the unfunniest dude they've ever seen in their life, whoever's in the crowd, once they leave, they don't know my name either way.
Right.
Like I've destroyed rooms, and I would have swore that I would have added 2 followers. And they don't give me. They're there to
Right.
get away from their problems. They
Right.
don't.
It's an escape.
It's okay, but we're still. It's an ego thing. So you're like, why would they should that was a pretty good set. Like I thought they would remember that.
Right.
But before I was a comedian, I'd go to a comedy event. I didn't know. I was like, who's that guy that opened for him? He was awesome. The last
Yeah.
guy sucked, or whatever. You know?
And when you walk away from a comedy club, you go, whoever was that, and even me who works in the business, like, yeah, I saw Shaun, and you remember the headliner, but then you go, the guy that opened for him, Mark
Costa?
Mark Chalafu, he was really funny. Like, I only remember his name because he was really funny, and I got his card, and I talked to him after that. If I hadn't done that, I wouldn't remember him at all. I mean, so and that's the thing. Like, think of all the people that you've talked to at outreach booths at the state fair or some fair. They aren't going to remember who you were. It's not even a personal
It's a game,
thing.
really, I guess.
Exactly.
It's transactional, so it's,
Part of what we do at We Are Libertarians to bring you entertainment is that we take certain parts of our personality and we take certain things that happen in our life and we extract those from our life, elevate them, exaggerate them, and kind of make them bigger than they are. Someone sent me a message and said, I was at that pool party that you guys talked about on those 2 episodes, and it wasn't nearly as wild as you said it was. Well, no shit, Sherlock, because this is
it
a
was
show.
a libertarian pool party.
Who's this cock blocker?
Yeah.
It was Joel
You're
Osteen. It was Joel Osteen. So
I knew you didn't like him.
Little autistic.
You don't like those preachy kids.
Joel Osteen, huh?
He's a doppelganger.
dude, yeah.
If you call that because he looks like him.
Oh my God. Same curly Jew hair, everything.
Well, why'd you have to say Jew hair?
They have a particular hairstyle. It's curly.
He started a phrase. He started a rant today with the phrase, I don't try to be anti-Semitic, but...
I try to not be anti-Semitic. But then you go and you hit a weapons factory in Syria and almost drag us into World War III, and I get so mad, I can't take it. I'm so tired of war.
So this is on the We Are Libertarians Instagram. Look at this dude. Look at him. Look at him.
Right?
You're going to want to open up to page 7. Now, you got to understand, this is what the Lord's talking to you. He doesn't know. He's talking to you in a way that you might not understand. It's his son.
Sunday school with Shaun Latham.
That's his son.
It's crazy, yeah. How
That
much
would
he
be
looks-
quite the scandal. An illegitimate
That would
son.
be a sweet scandal.
Wouldn't it? It'd actually be perfectly... Well, I better not say that. That wouldn't be perfectly fitting because Christians are good people.
Yeah. They
Oh
don't
my
do anything.
God.
They don't do anything wrong. Nobody does anything wrong.
Catholics.
Yeah. The Catholics don't.
Don't ever trust the Catholics.
Now, so yeah, it's about getting out there and realizing that you're not going to be remembered. You're not as significant as you. And a lot of times, people think that more people are thinking about them than actually are. Like, Greg and I are best friends, but like Greg is not sitting there thinking about me all day, every day.
If you're in trouble, I am.
Sure,
Right, but like everybody just lives their own life.
Yeah.
You know, like you were in trouble earlier this week, and we had to fix that.
Yes, yeah. Had a lot
Another
of
pregnancy scare, huh?
Yeah.
No.
Well, I found a 2-story home and said, well, you got to take a look at it, and pushed her right down the stairs. I was kidding.
Wow.
Well, we're going to go ahead and edit that out.
No, we're not.
No,
Just
that's
kidding.
what we do.
That's how we roll. It's real bad around here.
That's
The
great.
editing out was a nice play.
Yeah. But no, you know what? Sometimes, whatever you got to do, So sometimes the drastic measures, you got to take drastic, whatever the saying is. You guys know, fill it in.
I'm going to have you switch over to that mic, Greg.
All right.
Yeah.
Is that good?
Yeah, that's better. There's something up with the blue mic.
Mic?
Yeah. So, I killed you. I
Oh,
killed
man.
Shaun.
He hit me with the cough button.
Yep.
That's what you get for making fun of Christians.
That's what I get. Listen, you're the one making fun of Christians over there.
That's true.
This is a sweet specials board here. I thought you guys were going to put on here.
So like, I know one. That specials board.
Yeah, you guys should do You should do a $8.99 half soup sandwich on this.
See, he's not quite vegan, but he's only clean life.
Hey, let's go with a you're full vegan or not quite vegan?
Oh, no. I'm not even remotely vegan.
I consider anything that's remotely like vegetables is vegan.
Let's go with then you have a little specials board in here, guys, that you'd put out in front of a coffee shop or some sort of sandwich shop, and I really like it. And I think today's episode we're gonna have on special. We're gonna have a 6-inch chicken, okay, on a wheat bun with sprouts, avocado, a little sriracha mayo, and with a bag of chips and drink for $6.99.
I'm out on the sriracha, sir.
Oh, really?
I don't like sriracha.
So good.
I don't like sriracha at all.
Well, get your life together. That's what's wrong. You never know. Like, how old are you?
33.
All right. When you're 34, you're going to be like, wow, 33-year-old me didn't know shit. Sriracha's amazing. But
It makes everything really better.
Different.
See,
I think.
It's a little too... I'm sorry, Shaun. It's a little too Mexican for me.
I'm swarthy, so I can get away with
It's
it.
actually an Asian hot sauce, so it's okay.
Yeah, it's. Is it Asian? Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, they're going back, whatever they are. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, well, they're rounding them up as we speak.
That's right.
So yeah, it is really about reps. So how do you sit down and I would say if you are nervous about going out and doing an outreach booth or talking to a group, or if you're running for office, if you're like our friend Intern Ed who's going to run for office and nervous about speaking in front of a group, how much preparation do you do? How much
Rehearsing and
rehearsing or in between performances? Because the thing about stand-up comedy, it's about reps. You want to get up as many nights as possible. But I mean, if you're sitting at home in your free time, are you practicing? How do you think of things to say?
I pick them off throughout the day.
Okay.
So if something happens, I have to write it down. If I think it's funny in any manner, I was like, oh, I can use that. Boom. Right to the notes. If I don't put it in the notes, it's gone forever.
Right.
Do you do physical notes or do you do digital?
Digital, all digital. 99% digital at this point. My handwriting is getting worse and worse. I'm just typing and writing less and less.
Ironically, his dick pics are all analog still.
All analog.
Polaroid mails
Yes,
them.
how you're
just
known.
like Bauer's joke. I send them in the mail to people.
A Polaroid?
Yeah,
So I can write on
old
there?
school snail mail dick pics. You gotta respect that.
Could you imagine 15 years ago, like I graduated high school in 2002, if a girl had emailed us, or not even emailed, because you really couldn't have emailed a nude in 2002.
It would have had to be instant messenger.
If a girl had, in 1995, printed out on a Polaroid a nude photo and mailed it to you, could you imagine how fucking excited you'd be? Now you open up...
God.
They have it so easy today.
You open up Snapchat now and you're just like, great, there's another snatch.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, I can't get to all these today.
Right.
There's just too many.
There's just too many titties
I'm
in
so
my...
tired.
I'm so tired of looking at these titties.
Oh.
There's no practicing now.
Really?
There was in the beginning. I don't know. No way.
Not at his level is what he means.
That's really true.
And by the way, I ain't shit. I just want everybody to know that. Like, I'm not shit. I learn every single day. I've just this level of experience. Good for me. I started in 2002.
Oh wow! So
I've
it's
been
still
doing
pretty
it,
recent.
Yeah, in a lot of different markets, and I've been fortunate. So I'm just being able to do stand up is getting much easier because the talking part. You have to write. You write less off. So like right now, I pick off stuff all day. So like, let's see, something that happened a couple other days. Okay, so the other day, this girl was telling me that her girlfriend, one of her girlfriends, broke up with her boyfriend, but she had bought the dude a mop NATO. It's like
Oh my god!
one of those mop NATOs, right?
For the kitchen, like for kitchen linoleum.
Yeah. So the dude he's all sad whenever she broke up with him. He was sending her clips of himself crying using the mop NATO, and that's amazing to me. I was like, and that went right in the notes. Like, I don't know where it's gonna work, but I'll just take it and I'll apply it to a fake relationship. So I'll be like my brother-in-law or something. You know, I'll make up like my you know, so-and-so, this old buddy of mine, he was a little bitch, my old roommate or something like that.
My ex-girlfriend who I hated that I got a mop NATO.
Yeah, no, this dude, like, and then I'll just say the story like that, but I'll just recreate the cast, but the exact same actions that happened.
Yeah.
You know, that's how I write material. That's how I come up with shit. Like
Right.
I have this joke right now about my uncle having a prosthetic leg and he got on house arrest. And,
that's one of the funniest things I've ever listened to.
but it started as a tweet, and then now it's like a 5-minute bit. It's like my favorite shit to say.
Right.
You know, of all my scripted material. And it's
God.
a 5-minute bit now. And but it's half true. It's like I had an uncle as a kid that had diabetes and he had his leg amputated for years, and then another 7 or 8 years later he had the other one amputated. So that was already been in my mind. And then when I first moved out here, I was at Morty's in the lobby. I was stoned out of my mind.
Okay.
And I was just sitting there looking at and the manager at the time, when we all love, and she's one of my best friends on earth. Rachel was on house arrest.
Right.
So I was just sitting there, I'm just lit, and I'm just like, man, that would be great if my uncle, like, if he got on that, but they put it on the fake leg, then he can just go out and do shit still. It wouldn't matter.
Just leave it places.
Yeah, so that's where the joke, that's where it comes from, you know. It's half true, half.
So you embellish too, like, because that's the
100%.
thing. Like our listeners, they don't like, you know, or like Joel Osteen look alike. You know, it's that it wasn't exactly what happened. Like, you know, like an AP news report.
Most of it happened. I mean, but you like Jeremiah.
We play it up though.
Of course, Jeremiah
and,
was not out of. Jeremiah Morrill is a fine, upstanding member of society. He was not so drunk that he couldn't drive the next morning.
He wasn't white girl wasted.
Right. Yeah, he was a little that night, but
And you know, one more thing.
you embellish it a little bit.
One more part about that whole preparing to speak to people, right?
Right.
A lot of times, where people mess up is because they're thinking backwards when they get up there. So they practice and practice at home and practice, right? Mm-hmm. Thinking that if they know it like that, but then what happens when you go up there? You start trying to remember, so you're not thinking forward. So it slows everything down. So like
you're not reacting.
Yeah, you're not.
Sorta.
No, it's not. You're taking away the natural aspect of speaking and communicating.
Right.
So that's when people start slowing down, and then their words start to sound like this because they're trying to remember what to say, what they had written in that one line that they just couldn't remember. And now I'm up here in front of people, and I'm forgetting everything. And now I'm thinking backwards, and I'm looking. You know, then they become almost in the crowd and not the speaker.
Right.
You know, like, so all my shit's bullet pointed off, you know, when I start off a joke. So this is the idea. I'm tired of car alarms. If your car is older than 12 years, you're no more alarm. No one's stealing a piece of shit. And if they do, they're doing you a favor. You're welcome. Okay. That's one less thing for you to worry about.
Right.
And that's my whole, like, this joke on car alarms. Like, I'm just pissed off because like this dude in my apartment complex, this guy is a shitty asshole car. And his car alarm's going off all the time. It's like, dude, no one's stealing your 1998 Camry, dude. It doesn't even have the same color doors. Nobody wants that. And if they do, you don't want to be alarmed at it. You want that to be a natural surprise in your shitty Wednesday. So that's it. You know, I just think of the idea, and then I just go up there. That's why I still do open mics all the time, just to go up there and get the words out and try to find the joke, really.
So you just sort of let it ride, like, so like you have an idea or a concept in mind, and then you just free flow.
Yeah, I just throw it into the machine and hope it comes out on the other side funny, or at least funnier every time.
Yeah,
because I audio record every single set.
And then do you always try to like push the envelope to see like how far it can go, and then do you ever like sort of dial it back to find the sweet spot?
What I'll do is just keep writing around.
Okay,
just keep writing around. Then I'll take shit out. Like, all right, this line is just fat. It's got to go.
Too long.
This adds nothing to the story. It's just added words for no purpose. And
that's what we're great at.
Yeah. That's the great thing about podcasts.
Exactly.
We have a lot of fat.
There's a lot of fat, and that's but people like the fat now. That's different than stand up because you're not on a 7 or 8 minute. You know, you got 8 minutes to handle this. You know, you need as least amount of words to get to the funniest possible. In like a 7-minute set. You know, when you live in LA, you're not getting more than 20 minutes. Unless you're a seasoned general on the scene, you're not getting very many. Or you're your own self-produced shows where you're just up there ball hogging because it's your room. Then you're not getting much more than 20-minute sets. So there really is no room for fat.
So it's just way more competitive, obviously, like to even get noticed.
And I think that applies to when you're going out and you're communicating and talking with people. And this is a very specific thing. When people go out and do an outreach booth, when people go out and knock on doors and talk to people, when people go out and give a speech at a local forum as a candidate, or even when you're talking to your friends, I mean, people have you have to just kind of trust yourself. And so whenever I've given hundreds of speeches, And
you did stand up at last year's Libertarian convention. I was so proud of you because you had to like do it on the spot.
Right.
You've been talking about it. You did really good.
Thank you. Yeah, I mean, it's
and if you had 500 sets under your belt, you would be killing right now because you already know what you're talking about.
Right.
You already have the presence. You're doing it right here. You do it all the time.
Sure.
You know, you have a crowd. You just can't see them, and it's a delayed listen. That's
Absolutely.
the only difference.
Yeah, I mean, you've seen our live shows.
Mm-hmm. They're great.
Yeah, our live shows, we get about 50, 60 people out to them, and, you know, it's been great to hear a comedian's perspective of our live shows. Like, no, you guys kill. Your audience, I don't get the inside jokes, but your audience is a bunch of people show up.
I'm not autistic, but if I were, this would be what I would come to.
Yeah. Because you know why? Because you already know, like, listen, this is what you're saying. You're not shooting out, just shooting off random shit hoping that it gets picked up.
Right.
So, you know, that's all that matters is you know what you're saying and you're going at it. Now, if people don't like it, then they don't listen.
Right.
So that's why you don't give a fuck, is because you know what you're saying. You have people that want to hear it, and they're it's the same thing as me, except it's just a different recipe of what's going on.
Absolutely. They're right in front of you, and our audience is out there. You're driving in your car, you're listening to work. Yeah, I mean, and so listen, our podcast isn't for everybody.
No, we don't want it to be. I mean, that's my opinion. I try to, if you have enemies, you've done something right. You've taken a stand at once in your life. You know, and so many people just placate and just try to be everything to everybody, and it's just exhausting.
And it's impossible.
It is, because then you make no one happy, including yourself.
Yeah, you get in your mid-30s, you start to realize, like, listen, it's just this is how it works.
Yeah.
Man.
Do you think comedy made you more cynical and glib faster?
More cynical
or entertainment as a career? Like, you know, because like usually like in your 50s or like, you know, you're just like, I'm done with people, I'll do whatever I want. But like, I feel like in entertainment, everyone I've met is like at 30, they're like, fuck them. I don't give a shit about them. Like, did you go through that at all?
I resemble that remark.
You know, there's you have, when you're starting to, you know, when you've been doing it for a certain amount of time, you start feeling like, wait a minute, I should have gotten this or that, right? You know, then you could, but then you're just like, man, it's just a roller coaster. So there's ups and downs so much, and there's no rhyme or reason.
Yeah,
you know, it's a lot of things. It's not just based strictly off of funny. Because if that was the case, there would be a shitload of famous comedians.
Oh my God,
there's a lot of funny people out there that aren't millionaires.
Yeah.
You know, but
they just have a shtick like Larry the Cable Guy.
You just become more of selectively who you enjoy talking to. You know, because you have to talk to so many people after the show, and you have to be appreciative, but you don't really know them,
right?
You know, but they really feel like they know you really well.
Sure.
So you know, it's a lot of tons of small talk. And
where are you from? Oh, do you know?
Yeah. And you know, I'm really patient with it, and I enjoy it because I'm happy that somebody actually wants to talk to me. Because there's gonna be a day somebody probably might not want to talk to your ass. Like,
sure.
Are you at a point where the criticism doesn't have any effect at all anymore?
I mean, it doesn't have effect, but I'll listen to it.
Yeah, like constructive feedback. Yeah,
like,
that way.
Even if somebody hates me, they're yelling out why they hate me. Like, well, I'm sorry you hate me. I don't know, but then I still have to hear why. You know, some sort of self-reflection in some matter.
Listen to what they're saying rather than their tone.
You know, whether they're right or wrong, I still have to enjoy like I don't enjoy, but I'm like, all right, well, is there any valid point there? Is there anything that I could, you know, maybe I should change or think about that I'm fucking up? Or you could, you know, I'm listening to the guy, but that's 100% bullshit. So there's nothing I can do about it.
It's not my fault. He's wrong.
A lot of what we find is that, like, in doing this show, it's really kind of whatever we want to talk about and what we think is funny, what we think is interesting, and not so much it's not like audience testing, you know, and
A/B testing.
It's very much different than, like, you know, my day job where you're programming to a methodology a lot of times. But here it is really exactly whatever we want to talk about, and if people like it, they like it. If they don't, they don't. I mean, so how do you deal with you know, and that's for all libertarians, man. You're going to go out and talk to people, and there are going to be people who are just not your people, that you're not going to win them over, and there's no
majority.
There's no reason that you should continue arguing with that person on Facebook because they're Republican and they're just never going to change their ways. They're never going to change their thinking.
They just still think blacks are worth 3/5, and you're never going to change their mind.
Right?
And there's a lot of those in Indiana.
Some of those are on this podcast.
Yeah.
Yep. But, you know, and it's nothing you can do about it.
Yeah.
It's literally, you'll waste so much time thinking you can change. No one's going to change me. There's not a Republican out there that can step in front of me and make me be like, you know what, you're right, Trump's doing awesome and I love him to death.
Sure.
This guy's finally found our guy. Like, there isn't a person on earth that can do that. And so I know they're going to change my beliefs, what I got going on. Sure. So there's no way I'm going to change anybody. But sometimes, I mean, you get wrapped up in it. It's passionate. You know, sometimes I got to go back and delete some shit off Facebook. You know, I do a lot of political deleting on Facebook.
Do you? Are you a political troll?
Well, no. Sometimes, I mean, it depends. Occasionally, some shit, you know, I'll get in a few arguments here and there on Facebook, you know, Facebook political arguments. When I see some
shit posting.
some exaggerated ridiculousness, you know, and I'm just like, but I draw back so much. I'm just like, I start getting in, like, start typing. I'm like, stop it, dude.
I'm not going to put you in camp.
Keep it scrolling, bro. Go take that post down from yesterday, you dumbass.
I had a day like that yesterday.
Yeah, well, all this week, you've been going a little hard.
Hard in the paint.
You got to go hard in the paint. You know what? That's your game, man. Go, but
you just got to drop it once, and then you get left alone.
I just think that everybody's gonna be so worn out. These next few years, people are gonna be so worn out politically.
I'm worn out 100 days in.
I am. I constantly am just like, dude, what happened today? Every single day. I want to say thank you to President Obama for not doing that to me. My mentality,
right?
Whether he's right or wrong, what's going on right now. Whatever you believe, it's no matter what, it's got a stranglehold on everybody's mentality.
Yeah.
Oh, it's a mass cultural psychosis.
It's out of control. Like every day,
the whole country needs Xanax.
Can we have one day? Can I have one day without something just hitting my soul? Like, what is going on? Every day.
Yeah,
and their styles are so much different because Obama's cool, calm, collected, and Trump loves drama. He's petty and a reality TV star.
And I have found that it has made it's made us more petty. It's made society more petty.
100%. I got to agree with that.
I mean, you go out and interact with a lot of people one-on-one, have a lot of conversations with a lot of people. I mean, what kind of societal shift have you seen over the last couple of years?
Man, I'm just everybody is just an expert. That's the worst thing I think right now is everybody has a podium. There used to be one podium, now there's 20 billion podiums.
Right.
And that's there's people elected for a reason, and I mean it's very clear why now. Mm-hmm. And I can't. But the problem now is that those goofballs are now voting in these fucks that are just they're ripping the earth apart. You know, they don't give a shit about anything except
they're
themselves.
schadenfreude. People are enjoying pain for the first time in American politics.
Oh man. And but we're just catching up to the rest of the globe. Look at Brazil right now, or Venezuela, or what's going on in North Korea and China and Russia. Everything is in fucking chaos.
There's a book that I downloaded that I haven't read yet. It's called The Death of Expertise: The Campaign Against Established Knowledge and Why It Matters by Tom Nichols. And the description is as follows. People are now exposed to more information than ever before, provided by both technology and by increasing access to every level of education. These societal gains, however, have also helped fuel a surge in narcissistic and misguided intellectual... Got a phone call right at that opportune time. And misguided intellectual egalitarianism that has crippled information debates on any number of issues. Today, everyone knows everything. With only a quick trip through WebMD or Wikipedia, average citizens believe themselves to be on an equal intellectual footing with doctors and diplomats. All voices, even the most ridiculous, demand to be taken with equal seriousness, and any claim to the contrary is dismissed with an undemocratic elitism. And, I sort of read that and I go, all right, well, they're just going to throw, Rush and Alex Jones and all conservatives under the bus.
You made a typo. Thank God I don't have to defend my argument.
Right. But it's... It goes back to the reps thing. If somebody is a nutritionist by trade, just because you were on the Whole30 diet once and you watched some Snapchats by the Whole30 creator and read her book, that doesn't mean that you're now a nutritionist. That you're
not Keto Life.
Yeah, you're not. How it works or whatever that is.
Yeah, everybody's it works now.
Right. So it is. Everybody's an expert on things.
Everybody is an expert.
Right.
Doesn't that piss you off because you've spent 15 years becoming a professional comedian and with established credibility, and then you'll hear some snark from some little sniveling bastard and just want to go off?
No, because all that matters is the product. So if they can go, if they can do whatever they want and say whatever they want publicly, but then when I show up and I watch their set or something, I'm just like, well, maybe you aren't qualified to be saying what you're saying online. And I don't worry about it because anybody's success, if it comes quicker than mine, all I care. Look, there was no way I could have an hour special at the age of 28. It's just I was talking about the dumbest shit on earth I didn't know who I was on. Like there's, you can't really. It's all just a rhythm. So I can't say, well, look at this guy. He's already synced in. Like I'm barely getting where I really enjoy what I'm actually doing. Like this last week, I closed the open mic out the other night. It was one of my favorite sets I've done in a long time. Mm-hmm. I had and it was a bunch of fake shit. I made this thing up last year called the Invisiball at Pat McAfee's 4th of July party. Uh-huh. So I had a bunch of drunk people throwing around a fake ball. And so it was really doing well. People were acting like they were running down the hill. People were diving for this shit, throwing it off the wall. So I had this thing, Invisiball, right? So I used it. I pulled it on my ass on Wednesday at the open mic. I was like, some guy was wearing a baseball jersey. Some dude had a shirt on that was about 2 drives away from being sleeveless. And then there was some dude looked like he was just a hunter. He was just an Indiana hillbilly hunter or something, just out there. He had the camouflage hat on. He had the mustache. Good dude.
Right.
And
Great American.
Yeah. So I had him, I threw a fake apple in the air. I had this guy standing up, shooting it with his compound bow that he happened to bring to the show. And he was literally...
Of course he's a bow hunter.
Holding out. I mean, this guy was full on. I was like, you ready? He was locked and loaded like we were really doing this shit. So then I had everybody put on their fake helmets. The whole crowd put fake helmets on. Oh. It was awesome. They all went like this.
Right.
And then one girl didn't, and I saw her, the only girl who didn't. I was like, what's your deal? Put your helmet on. We want to save... This is OSHA friendly. We run a safe stunts around here. That's all we do. And she put it on all mad. She went like this. She put her fake helmet on all mad like this. Okay, I'll be safe. And then I had the dude throw a ball up. The sleeveless dude that was the half-ass buffster hit the ball in the air with his fake bat. And then the dude with the compound bow from row 4 shot the ball out of the air, and that was the big closer. It's just some fake ass shit, but it's hilarious.
Did you feel like a preacher?
I kind of did. I was like, I get it now. This is how they make them fall down.
Yeah.
Just pop them on the head. Healed.
You're done. Fall.
That's so funny. Yeah. Okay, so you have reached a point in your career that you have such proof of performance and such confidence in yourself that people who talk shit don't really bother you anymore.
No, because it's a product thing. Let's go heads up. If you really want to, that's all that matters is the product. Anything else is bullshit.
And so this is the argument that I'm having with a lot of Libertarian Party people right now, and we're going to talk a little bit more in our next podcast with Jen Gray. Nothing makes a bad product fail faster than good marketing. So you can have the best marketing in the world, but if your product sucks, then it's going to fail. And
faster.
The problem with the Libertarian movement and the Libertarian Party specifically is that we don't know what we're selling. We don't know what the product is. And so it is great to go out and have a lot of outreach, and it's great to go out and do a lot of events and knock on doors. But when you don't really know what you're offering to that person, what you're selling to that person, then it's really tough to go out and market it. And so that's why I feel like there's so much insecurity in the Libertarian Party, because they don't have the confidence of their product.
They're not an expert in their product.
Yeah, right. They're not an expert. They have confidence in it, but they have some confidence in it because they believe in it, but... there's no like definitive. Right. Here's what we got going on. This is us. These are our points. This is what we're up to.
Right.
And I see that.
And this is our competitor, and here's why we're better. And
Right. There isn't that defined product that the Libertarian Party is selling. What the Libertarian Party is selling is we're not them, and that just falls apart after a while.
And you're the problem.
Right.
That's the second part of that.
Let's blame the voter.
The war on voters.
Right. And so I think that's really helpful, that we are never as a movement or a party going to grow and without confidence. And you cannot have confidence without proof of performance, and you cannot have a good product without that practice.
Yeah, proof of performance is grinding or just grinding away,
sharpening
the saw.
Yeah.
And so when you speak, one thing I'm just curious about is I once read that Frank Sinatra, when he filmed movies, would only do one take because he wanted that spontaneity. Is that kind of the way you are, why you don't rehearse and that type of thing? Like that spontaneity is what gives it some of the extra magic?
Oh, 100%. Well, once you can live in that little world though, like you have to get over the bridge to be able to live in that world, to just be brave enough to know, like get out there and be like, all right, well,
I can swim.
I'm not going to go out there prepared with I always have a set list, but
do you all the time?
Yeah, I have my lists in my mind at all times. I know 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 20 minutes, 45. But it takes a while to get there. That's the real big jump, because if you tell an average person to go and just stand there and just run with it, up there like, what am I going to say? I don't know what the fuck this. I don't know what I'm going to say. Because I remember when I first started, I had my little 3.5 minutes, and I had the whole joke written out, and I was just reading the whole joke.
Oh God,
reading the whole joke, and then I'd be up there just thinking backwards. So the whole magic of everything is being natural at it. So I could see why Frank Sinatra did that. You know, he's not a trained actor.
Yeah. Right.
He's not like he didn't go to school for it as a child.
He's a movie star, like a personality, you know, more so than an actor.
And that's what he did. So he knew, like, whatever my first natural reaction is the best you're going to film me, because I'm not pretending at anything. I'm just winging it, and I'm thinking forward. And as I go forward, you can't fake going forward. Like, you start, you know, when you start trying to remember shit, that's when you lose all that natural shit is gone.
Right. You're strict and structured. And,
and it's not natural. It's the most unnatural shit.
I think you can tell, like, on this podcast when Greg has been putting together a lot of great show prep, but I think you can tell when we're reading from the show prep versus when we're speaking extemporaneously.
Right. And, like, I like to read through it and then not look at it, but, you know, also it's hard to, you know, I try to pride ourselves on we give the most comprehensive review of whatever topic we look at historically, policy-wise, and XYZ. And so sometimes we do have to read from the notes, but that's our audience likes that too. They literally would prefer vegetables than hot fudge sundaes every day.
Which is crazy.
Yeah.
I love vegetables. Love vegetables.
Really?
I do too.
Also, I think you should do a thing on social media where it's like Chris Spangle's word of the day.
All right.
And it's just like you got this like cool ass pose, you know, just holding it down.
Right.
And they just put whatever that fucking word you just said.
Extemporaneously?
Yeah, that's the you know, your podcast word of the day is definitely that.
The lexicon with Chris Spangle.
Hilarious. I loved it.
What does extemporaneously mean, Greg?
It means basically improvisational, bantering back and forth, reacting to whatever your environment is.
I'm sorry to disrespect you by using such a large word.
I like it. I mean, I'm like, damn, I would never bust that out. But I'm a pretty dumb dude as far as the English language, but
there are no stupid comedians.
When dudes just bust out awesome words.
Yeah.
I love that shit.
I said that with what was the basic Gestalt line for the Rogan podcast?
Oh, the basic Gestalt. No one knows what Gestalt means.
Gestalt?
Yeah, it's like the holistic psychology. The
doesn't
Gestalt.
even sound like English.
It's German.
And he says, I'm going to drop the basic Gestalt on you.
You want the basic Gestalt? And he used it wrong.
Alex Jones, yeah. And then Joe Rogan just quietly in the middle of the podcast goes, wow, I love how you said that word with confidence.
And he did. That was the thing. You say it with confidence, no one will even question you.
That's why I love Joe Rogan. He's just so real, and like
he's just the best.
Listen, he's gonna call you. You better know your shit, dude.
He is an expert. Like that guy preps like a freak, and he's really good in real time. Like that's something I can't do. He can fact check in real time.
And if I could prep and still be just as funny, then I would. Or you know, I do. I mean, now by prep I mean like writing everything down. You know, like I don't do that. I mean I listen to my sets all the time. I write out my work and my notes. I
do
type
you record
on shit.
yourself and go back and listen?
I record every set.
Awesome. Okay.
Because the one set you don't record is the one the most amazing shit happened, and you have no clue to ever bring it back.
Right.
So it's happened so many times that I am so anal about. I'm just like, I hit record. I have to usually delete off a minute of recording, just to whoever the opener was like introducing me. So I don't because I've been running up there sometimes and I didn't hit record. And I said this new bit and I added like 6 lines and I fucking forgot all of them.
Oh, it's impossible to when you're in the flow.
100%, I'll never remember.
You see what you need is a nice recorder like a Zoom H2. It's $150. You'll get great. You could make a CD out of all of it. Not your iPhone. None of that.
Yeah, I just been doing rolling the phone, dude.
Yeah, I know.
You just need a personal assistant follows you everywhere.
Yeah, well, I'm working on that. If there's anybody out there looking for an internship for the summer,
we have a free intern.
We have an intern right
52.
now.
I'm gonna.
You should ask for one.
I promise I'll give you school credit. I don't know if it's gonna count, but I'll give it to you.
It won't, but yeah, we called up. We have an intern, and Ed's 52. He's a great intern. He's a contributor to the show. He just started donating $10 a month to us. So thank you, intern.
Well, we're
Ed.
gonna get him elected to school board.
Yep, and then Taylor Bledsoe sent us some drunken messages the other night that I haven't had a chance to read and respond yet. So
any relation to Drew?
I don't think so.
That's a great last name, though.
It took me a second to
I
figure
loved
out.
Drew Bledsoe back in the day.
It took me a second to figure out who the fuck you were talking about because, like, I was like at BW3s last night because I wanted some wings, and I'm sitting there. I'm like, the draft's happening tonight. Cool. No clue.
Sport ball.
It didn't even connect that like Greg and the group chat had been talking about the draft the day before.
I don't even like NFL that much. I love the draft, though. There's something so exciting about it.
That's funny. So what are some other ways that you improve your act, that you improve your communication?
The only real way I found outside of doing rep, is just listening to yourself is so huge. The next week's headliner, Willie Barcena, a really good friend of mine. Mm-hmm. He's been doing this shit since I think maybe 87
at Morty's Comedy Joint.
He'll be there next week at Morty's Comedy Joint. Hilarious comedian.
The official comedy club of We Are Libertarians. I don't know if they want that title, but they've got it.
Hey,
that's a terrible title.
That's a big fat. You're welcome to the club.
Right, we're helping them.
And this guy's been on the Tonight Show probably 12 times. He's got 3 or 4 hour specials between Netflix and Comedy Central.
Wow.
And this, I really like. He's really the guy who just pounded in my head how important it is to record. Because he wakes up every day. He goes to this Denny's by his house at like 9 o'clock. He's got 3 kids, 2 already grown, and he sits there like a blue collar worker would, like going to a construction job. He goes in there. He hits play, listens to a set, takes a bunch of notes on the bits, and then after he does that, he fixes up whatever he does. Then he's on to the new material, and he's there until 2 or 3 o'clock every single day, just from 6 in the morning till like 3 p.m. every day, just working on material.
I would
probably picking up too, right? Listening to the conversations.
Yeah, you listen to all your sets. Because I'm telling you, when you hear yourself not do well, it hurts your soul.
Yeah.
It took me so long to even be able to listen to the shit I was saying. I would just be like this, fuck. I thought I did so good last night. I swore it was a much better reaction. Then you hear the crowd, there's like 50 people there. You hear like 3 dudes like, it's like, Jesus, I was bombing. But those 3 laughs will get you through some sets. I'll tell you right now.
Right.
Doing 3 laughing people in a room of 50 have carried me for years.
Well, and talk about that. And I will say, when Rupert was training for the debates, and Rupert, when he ran for governor in 2012 as the Libertarian gubernatorial candidate, Rupert was not good at public speaking about politics because he didn't have the confidence of the information he was giving. You could get him up there and talk about his program where he helps, inner city youth, or now rural American youth, get out of the criminal justice system, or Survivor, and he can talk extemporaneously for hours. And
marijuana is something he's becoming just amazing to talk about, like a marijuana policy.
Yeah,
drug policy.
Policy.
He's just really killing it, and it's really adding a lot to his confidence in politics.
Yeah, because he gets it, and then, but if he were in the debate, he would sweat and panic. And so what we did is we set up a camera, and we bought a podium, and we just put him in front of it, and he gave speech after speech after speech. If he was giving a speech that weekend, he would practice it 5 or 6 times. We'd tape it, he'd watch it, he'd go back and he'd redo it. When I started my radio career 10 years ago, I was sitting in a news booth and a 2-minute little news clip, and I'd read the copy, and then I'd go back and start striking words, moving words around to get it. I mean, that listening to yourself, give a presentation, give a speech. If you're going out to, if you just have a little elevator pitch for the Libertarian Party.
Would you like to buy some freedom?
Would you like to buy some freedom? What are those first initial things when you're most afraid of being judged by somebody? When you start that conversation, when you're giving the quiz, when you're knocking on a door, it's always those first few seconds. And I'm sure that when you get up on stage, those first few seconds of getting up on stage, you go...
That's a great point. That's kind of an initiation sequence.
Yeah, and if you can just get past that, that and get into a flow and practice that flow of even practicing conversation, that can be extremely helpful.
Yeah, 100%. I used to do. I for the longest time, I'd be at the house working out my set, saying my jokes at home.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
just out loud, and then
just saying
some work on the delivery and the pacing, that kind of thing.
Yep, try to how to say them. I would just say them at home over and over and over, because especially politically, a politician, you have to. I'm certain I would be rehearsing like a madman to make sure that I knew what I was, because that's a big deal. One of my biggest things about public speaking, I don't talk about politics on stage. I don't do anything that I'm going to make anybody take a side on, really. Right. On stage, because they're there to get away from all it. As far as my style is considered, I'm not here to make anybody take a side. Podcasts are different, obviously, but I'm just so nervous because I love listening to, what's going on politically. I believe in what I believe in, I'm big, libertarian. That's the least amount of government. We're just let me be my person. Let me be a person here. You get your tax money. Let me just get out of my face, but you have to. So many people know so much. Like I could like literally, if me and you were sitting here and just strictly go politics, I would be. It's intimidating as fuck because, for number one, like I told you, I read about it all day. I'm watching every video. I'm reading.
And you don't
everything.
do it on stage?
No, but
you're that passionate about it?
Yeah, but I'm just so nervous about knowing how well I know materials, because I just can't remember shit. You have to have so many real citing, real stuff that you have to quote or know, whether it be laws or anything that's going on. If you fuck that up, then you automatically get discredited. Mm-hmm. So
then you become president.
Yeah, then you become president. Jeez, then you can't remember what country you bombed, but you really enjoyed the cake you were eating while making the decision.
It was great chocolate cake.
It was great. Oh, it was just the best cake.
But if you were doing a debate on 90s rap lyrics,
rap lyrics or gangster movies, any gangster movie that's legitimate cast, I know probably 85% of the script.
So,
American Gangster, Denzel Washington,
100%.
That's great.
So
I haven't beat that one up, not nearly as much as like Donnie Brasco, Carlito's Way.
Well, it's not iconic.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think it will be though.
Yeah.
So we got to start wrapping up here, but so let's talk about you put on a show last night, and so when you're putting together an event where you need to, you're trying to get people out to your show, you're trying to craft an event that people will want to come to. When you're trying to put on politics is showbiz, and libertarians are terrible at show business. Libertarians are terrible at creating events that people are going to want to come. We don't do fun.
We just don't.
Libertarians are terrible about understanding what it's going to take to entertain people, but also promoting the event because there's that self-conscious aspect.
Creating a fun environment.
Right. So can you talk a little bit about what you did last night, and then what were some of the things that you did to promote that show? How did the show? What was the show? How did the show develop? And what did you do to promote it?
The show is called Mornings After Dark with me, your boy Shaun Latham, and I've always, like, when we do the Motor Pugs thing, we had this, there's so many challenges. Bowers really made everybody kind of step up, and you really step out of your comfort zone, because there was like a crowd work set, there was a all new material set, there was a only clean set, and there was a Tonight Show set. Like, you had to be a Tonight Show host, doing a monologue and write similar to that. So every week it rotated. We just went through emotions. This week I'm new material, then I got this, then I got monologue, and that shit really sparked. I really enjoyed the monologues. Like, Austin Reel killed it He's hard, one of the first times he did this. Yeah. He owned it so hard, and then I got to do it, and I didn't do it as good as he did. We all did it differently, but everybody got better at it because we did it for months and months. So last night I was like, I'm gonna do a Tonight Show, but like, if it's just Indianapolis, I want to be I want to be a fucking talk show host. Sitting at a desk just bullshitting with awesome people is a great thing. With
great stories to go out, bounce off of.
Beautiful, talented, like, there's just the elite people. You get to hang out and just let's just talk, man. Hang out, just have a beer. Right. So I did it here. I mean, I'm lucky to who I've been introduced to since I moved here. Some of the most awesome, like the most accredited athletes in the city. Mm-hmm. And I've been training with...
Thank you, Shaun.
You're welcome.
Thank you. You're so nice.
By the way, your ping pong game is uncontrollable.
You think he's Asian, really.
Yeah, this kid is a beast.
I'm a high-performance athlete. What can I say?
He's the albino of the professional ping pong circuit.
Listen, I can bench 110. Okay?
Like, whoa.
Yeah.
Let that be known. Everybody. You have all been put on notice. My dude is putting up 110... easy 3-4 times.
3-4 times.
So don't even, if you run into him in the streets, keep your head on a swivel.
All right, so you put together a Tonight Show.
Yep. And I've been training with Chris Lytle.
Yeah.
Doing jiu-jitsu, boxing, some kickboxing for almost a year.
Whoa. So
I was like, man, I'm gonna do this Tonight Show thing. So I've been talking to the club about it for a few months. And they finally gave me a date. And so I asked Chris if he wanted to be and then I just made it up. Like, I was like, all right, well, I'm going to do 20 minutes up. I got an hour and a half to fill. I'm going to do 20 minutes up. Austin will do 20 minutes. I'll throw a couch up there, a couple tables with a cloth. I'll
make it relaxed and real easy.
Like a Tonight Show, just a bootleg-ass version. I had three people just not in the same band, just my buddy the guitarist, Ryan McManus.
Right.
Then you got Jay McAfee on drums, Pat's brother, who's a drumming beast.
He is.
And then I just, through a friend, I just got a saxophone player. And they just fucking meshed, and Ryan got their latest shit, so they really didn't even practice together. They're just all really talented, so they just made it work.
That's awesome.
That's the best. Like, that's what they do at downtown at, the Slippery Noodle, like for jam night. Like,
Yeah.
These guys just kill it because they're all so talented. They can play off each other.
Yeah, I used to go to a jam night in Hermosa Beach. I was off the hook.
Yeah, that'd be way better.
Yeah, I'm sure it's not better. It's not, location doesn't matter. Artists are artists.
But the venue'd be fun.
Yeah, and so I said, all right, well, I'll do some time, and then what else am I going to fill in here? So I have a whiteboard at home, a big ass whiteboard. I started filling it in. Todd giving me input and stuff, and then I was like, and my buddy who owns Kincaid's Meat Market on 56 in Illinois.
Oh yeah, Rocky Ripple.
95 years of family owned and tradition.
Slinging meat over here.
Slinging meat, delicious. It's the most quality beef. Anyways, he's a big wine guy, and so whenever we're drinking wine, like it's like a running joke. I'm just like rattling off shit but I'm actually slowly like getting a basic little starter kit on how to drink wine and
a refined palate.
Yes, it's a little. I'm a white belt, but I have the passion is there.
So I'll take.
So I was like, let's do that on some shitty fake wine, some box wine though. Like no one ever does wine tasting events with shitty wine.
Right.
So that's so I was like, let's do shitty box wine and talk about it like it's $500 a bottle or whatever.
Oh God. And
then I was like, well, that's when I can have the opportunity to bring out Todd, because me and Todd did some of this on a Morty's Facebook Live post one time. We were putting apple juice and making it like it was shots of whiskey, and so everybody thought we getting a little crowd because everybody thought we were just knocking back 15 shots of whiskeys, or it was like apple juice, and we were drinking wine though for real, and we were just critiquing it and just being assholes, and it was funny. So I was like, all right, I'll do that. So I got me. I open. I'll bring out Lytle. We'll talk. And then Matt Mitrione has been training. Also, he's getting ready for a big fight, so he's been out there with Lytle in the morning. So I was like, we all partied in Buffalo a couple weeks ago. I had a show there, and they had UFC 210 there.
Said no one ever. Yeah, we were partying in Buffalo.
Shockingly fun place. I've only been there once.
Yeah, and it was the first warm weekend they've had in a while. So people were getting buck wild that weekend. But
and you can just throw Canadians in the Niagara Falls.
I'm into it.
So then Mitrione said, I'll be on your show. I'll do that. That sounds fun. So I was like, oh my God. First of all, I got 2 animal legends on my show. Like that's, you got to do it just from that. You got to figure out the rest, fill in space in, whatever you got to do. So then I brought out them last night. We had like a 20-minute thing, and I did the whole like all right, like I'm going to show everybody, just playing around like the host, just thinking he knows what he's doing. But I did a fake thing where I was like, okay, I'm going to show everybody how to get up a chokehold, Chris. So like I went around and he put me in a choke, and then I just pretended like I was asleep or whatever, just fucking around. And then Austin did a set. He came on the couch, talked about his weekend, promoted his shows, and then we did a lip sync battle at the end. Oh no, then we did the wine tasting. So then my buddy comes out, 2 buddies came out. We had the box of Franza. Then they filled up the glasses, probably 16 ounces
of Franzia.
Yeah,
that's not fun.
And then
that's a lot.
And then he chugged it to the face. So then Todd stood up and chugged the entire, and then there was $200 in the line. He goes, somebody comes up and goes, if you chug the whole thing, here's $100, Todd. So then Todd goes, somebody else puts another 100 in, and then somebody,
oh my,
this dude, my buddy David, he fucking stands up. He runs a body shop. No, he runs he works at a car dealership. So he threw in a free oil change, threw it on the desk. He was like, up in the ante.
Everybody's throwing in cash. Here's $29.99, no air filter.
200 in an oil change if you chug that Franza. So Todd stands up and just hits it to the face. Whole thing.
So the whole bag of Franzia?
No, just the whole glass. But it was like a 16-ounce glass.
Yeah.
Of fucking wine.
Was it like red?
Yeah, it was a sparkling red.
Oh, gross.
Anything red wine that has to get cold is going to be shit. But they sell a lot of it, and you get hammered off of it, so who gives a fuck, right?
Oh, I played Slap the Bag tons of times. You just open the thing up.
I bet you have.
Yeah. No, it's in a bag, so you just hold it up and open the spigot.
Yeah, then we then did a lip sync battle between Chris Lytle and Matt Mitrione, and then we wrapped her up. And that was my first...
Tonight Show.
Yeah, my first Indianapolis Tonight Show, basically.
So essentially, it was just you, and you were sitting there thinking about what would be funny, and you discussed it with some friends. What made you laugh is what you did, and how the crowd take that.
It went great,
right?
Way better than I could expect, that I could have ever hoped. It went smooth. Went really smooth. Everybody was hilarious. Everybody was in on it.
It's a fun environment. Like, Tonight shows used to be fun. Like, I love to watch the old ones with like Johnny Carson and Bob Hope and Dean Martin.
Yeah.
And they were like, Dean Martin's ashing his cigarette on Bob Hope. Like, they're fucking around drinking.
That's
and
what we were
now
doing
it's
last
so
night.
clean.
Yeah, no, my whole thing was like, because I love Johnny Carson show. Like that guy, those guys fucking around. He's just his corny shit. Like I listen to Rodney Dangerfield almost every other minimum weekly. At minimum, I listen to I Get No Respect album, just because I love those jokes so much, and I can't write those kind of jokks at all. Like, I couldn't write a one-liner for $1,000 right now. Like I could, but I'm saying like that level of action.
To fame and stardom
my
in
wife
movies.
is dumb.
I don't have that skill either.
Oh, it's such a good skill.
We had zero conversation about what we were going to do in this episode. We just sat down and did it. I can do that, and we can crank out an hour podcast that's relevant to our audience, but with zero prep. But you want me to write? We had a bit today where some Facebook advertising. I'm like, I got nothing. I don't know what we should do. We should put maybe some boobs in it.
Yep. No, 100%.
Just have Tom working on the computer not knowing he's being recorded.
So, lastly, how did you promote it? What are some things that because you got 90 people out, which is a great crowd.
Wow, that's awesome.
On a Thursday night for an untested, unknown thing. What are some ways that you got people to get out?
I did do some Facebook ads. I did a lot of promoting my own thing. Did a couple of posters, just some old school shit, a lot of talking about it. But yet the artwork is super important. It has to be, as long as it reflects something that's going to be solid. If you have some shitty artwork, people are like, oh, it's going to be a shitty show.
You did two things that were effective that I knew. This is how I learned about it. First off, you personally invited me to it.
100%.
And so by personally inviting it to, I felt bad that I couldn't go last night. That little bit of shame for missing it is important, because if you just send me an email, I can just delete that and ignore it, and I don't care.
A Facebook invite or something like that.
A Facebook invite is very impersonal, but because you personally invited me and I said, yeah, I might be able to try and make it. The Facebook invite is a supplement to remind people about the personal invite. The other thing that you did that was very effective is you sent me 2 personal Snapchats about it. And I knew it wasn't directly to me, but like sending me a snap about it, it was like right in my face. It's just like, oh, cool, yeah.
It felt like you cared about me,
right? But it was just
personal touch.
It's more another personal touch. So like to me, those are the 2 things that were very effective in. And it's a lot harder to personally invite a lot of people to a big event, but. You also did some incentives. You made it, hey, if you show up, here's a code that'll get you some money off or free at the door or whatever.
Yeah, I did. I also teamed up with Title Boxing. They have 2 boxing locations, one in Carmel and one in
Glendale Mall. Yeah.
And because I work out with those dudes, and we box at IBG with Chris Lytle. So that's how I became friends with them. And I was like, well, why don't we just do a program for your people where they get a half-off code, and you guys just promote it in-house, and I'll give, and I'll do a joke about Title, and I did some jokes about it, and you could set up a booth up front. So they were like, well, that sounds great. And so they helped me.
Cross-promotion, that's something that's very rarely taken advantage of.
That's really the most important, is finding ways. Like, I met this marketing guru that worked for the Improv in LA, and he just dropped some knowledge on me, and I was just like, well, this guy, no wonder he has 300 people at every single event. There's not a seat available. This guy's donating to he donates tickets.
Charity's huge
to the Red Cross, and so they'll give him. He had it to where everybody who donated blood, like on the day that everybody goes, everybody got two free tickets. So it's like 1,600 people just got handed free tickets to an awesome comedy event at the Improv.
Right.
Things like that. That's big deal. And so as soon as I knew I had the Title Boxing thing sewn up, I was like, okay, I got that. Now the rest I can get 50 people myself, just so my friends and their friends. That's 20 friends and bring a friend.
And 70 down the bottom, that's full.
Yeah.
Like Morty, that's a packed house.
We
and
had 90. We had 90.
Yeah, right. So, you had people upstairs.
No upstairs.
No upstairs?
No.
That place can hold 300 people.
Yeah, that's I think it's it's 200 and something downstairs.
No
200.
kidding.
Or
100. Be tight.
Yeah. No, but but the room feels in nice. 90 people. It was a really fun show. They were all into it. Everybody was really into it. It was just fun and just goofy, and luckily it went smooth as shit. I saw some really good people that are really good that are really good at interviews and things. Like, those fighters are really good at talking, in public. You know, like they're really good speakers. You know, and they're passionate to talk about.
I had lunch with Chris one time for 30 minutes and ended up being 2 hours.
Yeah,
like he just can go, and he's fascinating.
Yeah, we're both Ron Paul guys, so like that 08 movement.
It's happening.
Yeah. So we always talk about him. We always have something to talk about, me and him.
Yeah.
All right. Well, we are going to wrap up now, and at the end of the show, we just like to give the floor to everybody on the podcast that day. It's your chance to self-promote. If people want to follow you, if there's anything that you forgot to mention, the floor is yours, Shaun Latham.
All right. Social media-wise, you can find me. My Snapchat is ShaunLatham.com. I can't believe somebody fucking beat me to Shaun Latham on Snapchat. I had it. You know why I had it? And I deleted it when it was new. Because it was just for bad shit. And I knew my girlfriend at the time would not be feeling it.
Right. Because in the early days, it wasn't a publicly traded company. It was for titties.
Yeah, it was for some down low secret shit. He founded it at
Stanford as like a freshman.
Right,
yeah,
for titties.
Genius.
Yeah, now he's dating a Sports Illustrated supermodel. The guy's got the life.
And then across the board, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook is Shaun Latham, ShaunLatham, as in Mac. And just follow along, man. I love being.
When's your next
Twitter's
show?
my favorite. Twitter's my favorite, by the way. That's my favorite, to be just a complete asshole and just be fun, but in a fun way. Like, you know, I retweet a lot of anti-Trump shit. So if you're super Trumpy, you're probably gonna get pissed off at some of my retweets.
All right. And do you have a website with dates or anything like that, or just follow you on Facebook or Twitter and follow?
ShaunLatham.com, but I haven't updated the tour dates lately. But I mean, if you go to my Instagram, it's just loaded with all my shows coming up.
What about your podcast? Where can people subscribe?
That'll
to that?
be within a week or so. It'll be up
it's
on,
not up yet.
No, not yet. We got all set up with Spangle, and then I've been doing warm up episodes with Chris, so we can get so we come in smoother.
Yeah, cool. And then once you guys have it up, then we'll have you guys back and have you on.
And that's it, Shaun Latham. I want to say thank you guys so much for having me on your wonderful podcast.
Absolutely. Please, everybody go follow Shaun. He's very, very, very funny. See if he's coming to your town. You travel all over the country. You're not just here in Indianapolis. Very funny guy.
I'll be at Morty's next weekend with Willie Barcena.
Friday and Saturday?
Thursday, Friday, Saturday next weekend.
Okay,
That's
cool.
May...
Cinco de Mayo weekend.
Oh, and you're of the Hispanic variety,
and
correct?
so is Willie.
Uh-oh.
We're bringing full-on Mexican theme to Cinco de Mayo, Indianapolis.
You're going to Mexican the American Independence Day for Mexico?
Let's go. You can't deport us all. I'm from here, fuckface.
Greg?
No, Shaun, thanks so much for coming on. I hadn't talked to you before. Just really enjoyed the entire conversation and took a lot away from it. So just thanks and good luck with everything. And I'll try to come see you next Saturday. I know he can't, but I'll try to.
Tickets on me, guys. Any show, there's 5 shows, so.
Yeah,
Cool.
It'd be great.
Thank you. All right. Well, I just started talking to Greg like we weren't on the air anymore. Thank you so much, Shaun, for joining us here on this podcast. Greg, thank you for being here. I hope you guys enjoy this. Please go follow Shaun. I promise you will not be disappointed by anything he does. And thank you for listening to We Are Libertarians. Please be sure to go and rate and review us on iTunes, like us on Facebook. If you enjoyed this episode, please share with your friends. Share with your libertarian friends especially so they get something out of them. Force it on them. All right, and thanks so much, and check out all the good stuff at wearelibertarians.com. And as always, we promise
to do better next time.
Thank you for listening to the We Are Libertarians Network. Get our other shows at wearelibertarians.com.